Merry Christmas, everybody, and welcome to Conk's Corner, the show where I eat all of your Christmas treats. This is actually a show where I read Harry Potter every single day, and after this, some other books. We'll find out which ones. And I've never read Harry Potter before, so please don't spoil anything in the chat or in the comments, because it is my first time, and a number of other people's first time in the comments, too. Remember to like the video, please. So, I wasn't here on Friday because my neck and my back had a little bit of a problem again, but it's all better. So thank you for those people who checked in about that. We got to 800 subs, so that's awesome. Thank you for listening in. That's really great. And also, we have a special guest today. We have...
Hey everybody, how's it going? Good. And I mean, John, your intro, you said it in such a way that like maybe there was a possibility of you otherwise not eating everybody's Christmas treats, but yeah. It is fun. It's fun to give you treats. I'm good. To answer your question in the chat, because you warned me ahead of time that I would have to answer it, so I'm going to answer it right away. Oh. So when I'm on, they can't.
Okay, apparently. Oh, okay. Hey. Okay, I think you can hear me now. Now I'm better. Okay, Mark, you there? Oh no! Okay, 1 second. There you are. Okay, everything's fixed now. We are back. Is it? Am I back? Yes, it's fixed. It's fixed. Okay, keep on going, Mark. What were you saying?
Chill, Danny. I don't need to be sacrificed. No, I wanted to answer your question of what has like given me hope in the last month, and
yeah,
I thought about it, and it's definitely the cats.
You got cats, right? Tell us more about that.
Cats. I got 2 cats. Hillary and I. Hillary's my partner. For those who don't know, we adopted them from the shelter just a little over a week ago, so like a week and a half ago.
Oh, that's so great.
The one cat is an adult. He's 5 years old, and he has a Turkish passport.
Turkish passport. I love that.
Turkey. And and then the kitten, he is 4 months old, and he lost his back right leg.
Wow.
When he came into the shelter, it was badly broken, and they had to amputate it. So he gets around 5.
Well, you and Hillary are great people for having those cats in the house, and also like a cat without a back leg is also. It's horrible, but must be pretty damn cute too.
He's cute no matter what.
Yeah, no matter what. I also asked other people in the chat what has given you hope last month. Some people are saying that the vaccine approval, that's pretty exciting for them. Elise Bateman says, seeing the resilience of children, how my family has come together in the midst of grief. Again, condolences, Elise. Lois says, people's response to getting a simple holiday card in the mail. That it snowed here yesterday. We actually had a snow day, says Important Nobody. Danny says, this stream and spending time with loved ones. And something that's given me hope, says S. Peterson, is my brothers and sisters always laughing. So, keep on keeping on. Yeah, it's great. It's important to remind ourselves of things that do give us hope, especially if you can't spend time with your family during Christmas. So, I'm with all of you there. So, Mark, do you wanna fill us in what happened last time? Where did we leave off?
Yeah, we left off. Ron just destroyed the Horcrux, but the Horcrux had things coming out of it, and it was talking, and it was very disturbing.
And images of was it Hermione and
And
Harry.
Harry like making out.
Bow, chicka, bow, bow. So that's where we left off last time. If Mark, if you have a scar to put on, if you have something to etch a scar on, feel free to put it on, because I'm gonna do it right now so we can get started.
I mean, I probably do, but I just don't want to.
Understandable, understandable. Okay, everybody, y'all ready to go? Let's do this. Mark, anytime you feel like speaking up, feel free to.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, particularly when it's time for me to tell you to stop talking.
Right. Stop talking and just keep reading. Yeah. All right, let's keep going. This is right after Ron destroyed the Horcrux. Slowly, Harry walked back to him, hardly knowing what to say or do. Ron was breathing heavily. His eyes were no longer red at all, but their normal blue. They were also wet. Harry stooped, pretending he had not seen, and picked up the broken Horcrux. Ron had pierced the glass in both windows. Riddle's eyes were gone, and the stained silk lining of the locket was smoking slightly. The thing that had lived in the Horcrux had vanished. Torturing Ron had been its final act. The sword clanged as Ron dropped it. He had sunk to his knees, his head in his arms. He was shaking, but not, Harry realized, from cold. Harry crammed the broken locket into his pocket, knelt down beside Ron, and placed a hand cautiously on his shoulder. He took it as a good sign that Ron did not throw it off. "After you left," he said in a low voice, grateful for the fact that Ron's face was hidden. This is now Harry speaking, not Ron. "She cried for a week, probably longer. Only she didn't want me to see. There were loads of nights when we never even spoke to each other. With you gone," he could not finish. It was only now that Ron was here again that Harry fully realized how much his absence had cost them. "She's like my sister," he went on. "I love her like a sister, and I reckon she feels the same way about me. It's always been like that. I thought you knew." Ron did not respond, but turned his face away from Harry and wiped his nose noisily on his sleeve. Harry got to his feet again and walked to where Ron's enormous rucksack lay, yards away, discarded as Ron had run towards the pool to save Harry from drowning. He hoisted it onto his own back and walked back to Ron, who clambered to his feet as Harry approached, eyes bloodshot but otherwise composed. "I'm sorry," he said in a thick voice. I'm sorry I left. I know it was a... He looked around at the darkness. As if hoping a bad enough word would swoop down upon him and claim him. You've sort of made up for it tonight," said Harry. "Getting the sword, finishing off the Horcrux, saving my life. That makes me sound... Huh?
That's true. He did kind of make up for it. I ain't even mad, man.
He totally, he like saved Harry's life, got the tool they've been looking for forever, and then he straight up destroyed a Horcrux all in the span of like 20 minutes.
Though, you know, credit has to go where credit is due, and the dough, I think, had a lot to do with all of it.
Oh, so. I totally forgot whoever is doing that. I forgot about
I have no idea.
Oh, this is interesting. All right. That makes me sound a lot cooler than I was, Ron mumbled. "Stuff like that always sounds cooler than it really was, said Harry. "I've been trying to tell you that for years." Simultaneously, they walked forwards and hugged, Harry gripping the still sopping back of Ron's jacket. "And now," said Harry as they broke apart, "all we've got to do is find the tent again." But it was not difficult. Though the walk through the dark forest with the doe had seemed lengthy, with Ron by his side, the journey back seemed to take a surprisingly short time. We're gonna see Hermione and Ron's reunion here. I wonder what that's
Oh
gonna.
yes. Yeah.
What's your call? What do you think it's gonna be like?
I don't know. I think Hermione will probably like maybe take an extra moment, maybe, but I think she'll probably just hug him and be glad that he found them and be happy that he's there.
Yeah, yeah,
You know, before getting down to business of like how he managed to find them or what he's been up to or what happened, and maybe they'll just be so concerned about talking about the Horcrux that he won't even mention it right away. But,
yeah. I think. I think that Hermione's exactly. He's gonna be like, oh my gosh, Ron and everything, but he's gonna put a little barrier of I'm an idiot up, or I should have been different, right? Because I think that's one of his core qualities, especially with his brothers, is the word should, right? He should be this, he should be that. You know, he was always comparing himself with the brothers, with Harry. You know, he's always like, I should be something, and he's not content with just being himself.
Yeah.
I think. All right. Where were we? Harry could not wait to wake Hermione, and it was with quickening excitement that he entered the tent, Ron lagging a little behind him. It was gloriously warm after the pool in the forest. The only illumination, the blue bell flame still shimmering in a bowl on the floor. Hermione was fast asleep, curled up under her blankets, and did not move until Harry had said her name several times. Hermione! She stirred and sat up quickly, pushing her hair out of her face. What's wrong? Harry, are you all right? It's okay, everything's fine. More than fine. I'm great. There's someone here. What do you mean? Who? She saw Ron, who stood there holding the sword and dripping onto the threadbare carpet. Harry backed into a shadowy corner. Yes, my children. Go. Come together. just shades covering his face slowly.
Can you imagine though, like Hermione's situation? She's like, passed out, maybe, probably, for all we know, even dreaming about Ron.
Yeah.
And then she wakes up and he's like holding the sword of Gryffindor in the doorway, like,
yeah,
I'm here.
Just how surprising that would be. Harry backed into a shadowy corner, slipped off Ron's rucksack, and attempted to blend in with the canvas. Hermione slid out of her bunk and moved like a sleepwalker towards Ron, her eyes upon his pale face. She stopped right in front of him, her lips slightly parted, her eyes wide. Ron gave a weak, hopeful smile and half raised his arms. Hermione launched herself forwards and started punching every inch of him that she could reach. Ouch! Ow! Ow! Get off! What the? Hermione! Ow! You complete ass, Ronald Weasley! She punctuated every word with a blow. Ron backed away, shielding his head as Hermione advanced. You crawl back here after weeks and weeks! Oh, where's my wand? She looked as though ready to wrestle it out of Harry's hands, and he reacted instinctively. Protego! The invisible shield erupted between Ron and Hermione. The force of it knocked her backwards onto the floor.
No.
Spitting hair out of her mouth, she leapt up again. Hermione, said Harry. I will not calm down, she screamed. Never before had he seen her lose control like this. Wow. She looked quite demented. Give me back my wand! Give it back to me! Hermione, will you please? Don't you tell me what to do, Harry Potter, she screeched. Don't you dare! Give it back now, and you! Wow. She was pointing at Ron in dire accusation. It was like a malediction, and Harry could not blame Ron for retreating several steps. I came running after you. I called you. I begged you to come back. I know, Ron said. Hermione, I'm sorry. I'm really... Oh, you're sorry. She laughed, a high-pitched, out-of-control sound. Ron looked at Harry for help, but Harry merely grimaced his helplessness. You came back after weeks. Weeks! And you think it's going to be all right if you just say sorry? Well, what else can I say? Ron shouted, and Harry was glad that Ron was fighting back. Oh, I don't know, yelled Hermione with an awful sarcasm. Rack your brains, Ron. That should only take a couple of seconds. Hermione. Wow. Interjected Harry, who considered this a low blow. He just saved my... I don't care, she screamed. I don't care what he's done. Weeks and weeks. We could have been dead for all he knew. I knew you weren't dead, bellowed Ron, drowning her voice for the first time, and approaching as close as he could with a shield charm between them. Harry's all over the prophet, all over the radio. They're looking for you everywhere. All these rumors and mental stories. I knew I'd hear straight off if you were dead. You don't know what it's been like. What it's been like for you? Her voice was now so shrill, only bats will be able to hear it soon. But she had reached a level of indignation that rendered her temporarily speechless. And Ron seized the opportunity. We were very, very wrong with how we thought this was go. Hey, we were very wrong. Very wrong. We were very wrong.
Yeah, at first I was like, oh, she's hitting him in that, like, ah, screw you, I hate you. And then it was like, wait, no, this is not that.
Yeah, this is very brutal. This is very brutal.
Yeah.
All right. Where are we going? But she had reached a level of indignation. Oh, yeah, and Ron seizes the opportunity. I wanted to come back the minute I disapparated. But I walked straight into a gang of snatchers, Hermione, and I couldn't go anywhere. A gang of what? Asked Harry, as Hermione threw herself down into a chair with her arms and legs crossed so tightly it seemed unlikely that she would unravel them for several years. Snatchers, said Ron. They're everywhere. Gangs trying to earn gold by rounding up muggle-borns and blood traders. There's a reward from the Ministry for everyone captured. I was on my own, and I looked like I might be school-age, but they got really excited, thought I was a muggle-born in hiding. I had to talk fast to get out of being dragged to the Ministry. What did you say to them? Told them I was Stan Shunpike, first person I could think of. And they believed that. They were the brightest. They weren't the brightest. One of them is definitely part troll. The smell of them. Okay, so the Snatchers, now gangs, is basically like, what'd you call it? What'd you call it? You know, army for hire kind of people? What's it called again?
What, like a mercenary? Is that what it is?
Dog the Bounty Hunter, like bounty hunters.
Like a bounty hunter.
Yeah, they're like bounty hunters, basically. Going around trying to find muggle-borns, and then I guess they would get some kind of reward for returning them. Bounty hunters, there you go. Yeah. Mercenaries or bounty hunters. More like bounty hunters. I was thinking of mercenaries, but definitely more like bounty hunters.
Sure,
yeah. Ron glanced at Hermione, clearly hopeful she might soften at this small instance of humor, but her expression remained stony above her tightly knotted limbs. Anyway, they had a row about whether I was Stan or not. It was a bit pathetic, to be honest, but there were still 5 of them and only 1 of me, and they'd taken my wand. Then 2 of them got into a fight, and while the others were distracted, I managed to hit the one holding me in the stomach, grabbed his wand, disarmed the bloke holding mine, and disapparated. I didn't do so well. Splinched myself again. Ron held up his right hand to show 2 missing fingernails. Hermione raised her eyebrows coldly. And I came out miles from where you were. By the time I got back to that bit of riverbank where we'd been, you'd gone. Gosh, what a gripping story, Hermione said, in the lofty voice she adopted when wishing to wound. You must have been simply terrified. Meanwhile, we went to Godric's Hollow and... let's think. What happened there, Harry? Oh, yes. You know whose snake turned up. It nearly killed both of us. And then you know who himself arrived and missed us by about a second. What? Ron said, gaping from her to Harry, but Hermione ignored him. Imagine losing fingernails, Harry. That really puts our sufferings into perspective, doesn't it? Hermione, said Harry quietly. Ron just saved my life. She appeared not to have heard him. One thing I would like to know, though, she said, fixing her eyes on a spot a foot over Ron's head. How exactly did you find us tonight? That's important. Once we know, we'll be able to make sure we're not visited by anyone else we don't want to see. Rough. So it's just like diss after diss after diss. Oh yeah, Dexter's just lying there. Look at him. Ron glared at her and pulled a small silver object from his jeans pocket. This. She had to look at Ron to see what he was showing them. The Deluminator? She asked, so surprised she forgot to look cold and fierce. It doesn't just turn the lights on and off, said Ron. I don't know how it works or why it happened then and not any other time, but because I've been wanting to come back ever since I left. But I was listening to the radio really early on Christmas morning, and I heard you. He was looking at Hermione. You heard me on the radio? She asked incredulously. No, I heard you coming out of my pocket. Your voice. He held up the Deluminator again. Came out of this. And what exactly did I say? Asked Hermione, her tone somewhere between skepticism and curiosity. My name. Ron. And you said something about my wand. Something about a wand. Hermione turned a fiery shade of scarlet. Harry remembered. It had been the first time Ron's name had been said aloud by either of them since the day he had left. Hermione had mentioned it when talking about repairing Harry's wand. So I took it out, Ron went on, looking at the Deluminator. And it didn't seem different or anything, but I was sure I heard you, so I clicked it. And the light went out in my room, but another light appeared right outside the window. Ron raised his empty hand and pointed it in front of him. His eyes focused on something neither Harry nor Hermione could see. It was a ball of light, kind of pulsing and bluish, like that light you get around a portkey, you know? Yeah, said Harry and Hermione together, automatically. I knew this was it, said Ron. I grabbed my stuff and packed it, and I put on my rucksack and went out into the garden. The little ball of light was hovering there, waiting for me, and when I came out, it bobbed along a bit, and I followed it behind the shed, and then it went inside me. Sorry? Said Harry, sure he had not heard correctly. It sort of floated towards me, said Ron, illustrating the movement with his free index finger, right to my chest, and then it just went straight through. It was here. He touched a point close to his heart. I could feel it. It was hot. And once it was inside me, I knew what I was supposed to do. I knew it would take me where I needed to go. So I disapparated and came out on the side of a hill. There was snow everywhere. We were there, said Harry. We spent 2 nights there. And the second night I kept thinking I could hear someone moving around in the dark and calling out. Yeah, well, that would have been me, said Ron. Your protective spells work, anyway, because I couldn't see you and I couldn't hear you. I was sure you were around, though, so in the end, I got in my sleeping bag and waited for one of you to appear. I thought you'd have to show yourselves when you packed up the tent. No, actually, said Hermione. We've been disapparating under the invisibility cloak as an extra precaution, and we left really early because, as Harry says, we'd heard somebody blundering around. still choosing like a slight blundering around.
Not walking, but blundering.
Yeah, just, whoa!
Creature wailing in the distance.
I just hope the rest of the book is just full of Hermione dissing Ron nonstop. Okay. Blundering around. Well, I stayed on that hill all day, said Ron. I kept hoping you'd appear, but when it started to get dark, I knew I must have missed you. So I clicked the Deluminator again, and the blue light came out and went inside me, and I disapparated and arrived here in these woods. Still couldn't see you, so I just had to hope one of you would show yourselves in the end. And Harry did. Well, I saw the dove first, obviously. Okay, so little point here. These are gifts from Dumbledore to them, right?
Yeah.
The Deluminator. So I bet each one of the gifts will have a very specific use. But this one, for example, right? Dumbledore must have somehow known that they would have to they would get separated, and Ron would use this Deluminator to get back to them. So does that mean he's seen the future of this?
Well, I don't necessarily know if it means he's seeing the future. That's a interesting theory, but like that definitely could be a possibility. I don't necessarily think that it's that though. I think that maybe he gave it to them because of what it could do, because he probably assumed that they were going to have to separate for some positive reason, and not that maybe Ron would run away on his friends.
Yeah. I'm not reading the chat, but because I know maybe somebody will be saying something about it. So I'm not reading the chat. Maybe you don't want to either in case somebody spoils something. But, yeah. So there's a couple different options. Either he's just generally, here's some general items that will help them. Or there's some kind of prophecy about this in the three of them. You know, and then maybe there's something like that he knew of. Or maybe somebody saw the future and a part of this, or prophesied part of the future, and he was like, okay, these objects will help them.
Yeah. He could also just have assumed that maybe Ron would not want to stay with him.
Yeah, true. Ron's the one. Like, Ron will leave them.
Ron's non-committal. If there's any of them, I'm going to give it to him.
He's just looking at all their flaws and be like, this object goes with Ron, this one with Harry, and this one with Hermione. Hermione likes to read, and maybe just to calm her down, I'll give her a kid's book. Something like that.
I hope it has more significant meaning.
Yeah, it probably will. Okay. Okay. Ron stayed in that hill all day. I saw the doe first, obviously. You saw the what? Said Hermione sharply. They explained what had happened, and as the story of the silver doe and the sword in the pool unfolded, Hermione frowned from one to the other of them, concentrating so hard she forgot to keep her limbs locked together. But it must have been a Patronus, she said. Couldn't you see who was casting it? Didn't you see anyone? And it led you to the sword. I can't believe this. Then what happened? Ron explained how he had watched Harry jump into the pool and had waited for him to resurface, how he had realized that something was wrong, dived in and saved Harry, then returned for the sword. He got as far as the opening of the locket, then hesitated, and Harry cut in. And Ron stabbed it with the sword. And it went just like that, she whispered. Well, it screamed, said Harry with half a glance at Ron. Here. He threw the locket into her lap. Gingerly, she picked it up and examined its punctured windows. Deciding that it was at last safe to do so, Harry removed the shield charm with a wave of Hermione's wand and turned it. Hey, Mark, got your wand?
Oh, yeah.
These are gifts from Alice.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Alicia, sorry. Yeah. Oh yeah, yours is pretty cool. I think that's Dumbledore's official one, and this is mine.
Mine's
from Ron,
Elder
Harry's official. Sorry.
Mine's the Elder Wand, which Dumbledore did have.
Right. No. Elder Wand. Let's see. Right. Remove the shield charm with a wave of Hermione's wand and turn to Ron. Did you just say you got away from the snatchers with a spare wand? What? Said Ron, who had been watching Hermione examining the locket. Oh, yeah. He tugged open a buckle on his rucksack and pulled a short, dark wand out of its pocket. Yeah, figured it's always handy to have a backup. You are right, said Harry, holding out his wand. Mine's broken. You're kidding, Ron said. But at that moment Hermione got to her feet, and he looked apprehensive again. Hermione put the vanquished Horcrux into the beaded bag, then climbed back into her bed and settled down without another word. Ron passed Harry the new wand. About the best you could hope for, I think, murmured Harry. Yeah, said Ron. Could have been worse. Remember those birds she set on me? Oh, yeah. I still haven't ruled it out, came Hermione's muffled voice from beneath her blankets. I like that she's just like pissed and going to sleep and muttering. She's like, I'm still gonna shut some birds on you.
You want the back row.
My mom is on the stream. Hello, mother. Mama. Mother dearest. Say hi to everybody. My mom. My mom is Anna Voth. Okay. So came Hermione's muffled voice from beneath her blankets, but Harry saw Ron smiling slightly as he pulled his maroon pajamas out of his rucksack. Chapter 20. Xenophilius Lovegood. All right, so that's a little reunion. It wasn't a chapter, it was the last half of the chapter of this crazy Horcrux destroying and the reunion. It was pretty fun.
What's the name of the next chapter?
Xenophilius Lovegood. It's obviously somebody's name. I feel like we've heard that name before.
Oh yeah, Lovegood. That's Luna's dad, isn't it?
Oh yeah,
Lovegood,
yeah, it is.
Yeah,
you're right. Okay, so we're probably going to find out more about him in this next bit. I kind of forget the voice I gave him, so when we get closer, I'll ask for some adjectives around him.
I think the only adjectives you got last time were just like Luna, but an older dude.
Oh, right. Yeah, you're right. You're right. my mom says, just checking if you're doing a good job.
That's good. Yeah,
thanks. Yes, Mom. You know, I hope I'm doing a good job and that you love me. Love you, Mom. All right. Harry had not expected Hermione's anger to abate overnight, and was therefore unsurprised that she communicated mainly by dirty looks and pointed silences next morning. Ron responded by maintaining an unnaturally somber demeanor in her presence, as an outward sign of continuing remorse. In fact, when all three of them were together, Harry felt like the only non-mourner at a poorly attended funeral. During those few moments he spent alone with Harry, collecting water and searching the undergrowth for mushrooms, however, Ron became shamelessly cheery. Someone helped us. Someone helped us, he kept saying. Someone sent that dough. Someone's on our side. One Horcrux down, mate, Bolstered by the destruction of the locket, they set to debating the possible... Ooh, this is very nice music. I can't wait to... I mean, I'm not downloading the soundtrack yet because I know soundtracks always have, like, titles of what happens, so I'm not doing that, but, man, this is beautiful. Love this. Reminds a little bit of Halo music, a little bit. Bolstered by the destruction of the locket, they sent to debating the possible locations of the other Horcruxes. And even though they had discussed the matter so often before, Harry felt optimistic, certain that more breakthroughs would succeed the first. Hermione's sulkiness could not mar his buoyant spirits. The sudden upswing in their fortunes, the appearance of the mysterious dough, Ron's return, made Harry so happy that it was quite difficult to maintain a straight face. Late in the afternoon, he and Ron escaped Hermione's baleful presence again, and under the pretense of scouring the bare hedges for non-existent blackberries, they continued their ongoing exchange of news. Harry had finally managed to tell Ron the whole story of his and Hermione's various wanderings, right up to the full story of what happened at Godric's Hollow. Ron was now filling Harry in on everything he had discovered about the wider wizarding world, the WWW, during his weeks away, the wizard internet. Yeah, the song titles are super spoilery, somebody's saying.
What would be the name of a wizard search engine?
Oh, right. So
Hoodle.
Instead of... Huh? What'd you say? Hoodle.
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 Like the owl. Like
Yeah.
the owl.
Or instead of Bing, ping. No, zing. I don't know. You know, ping. Zapping.
Alakazam.
Okay. Right. And how did you find out about the taboo? He asked Harry, after explaining the many desperate attempts of Muggle-borns to evade the Ministry. The what? You and Hermione have stopped saying you-know-whose name. Oh, yeah. Well, it's just a bad habit we've slipped into, said Harry. But I haven't got a problem calling him No! Roared Ron, causing Harry to jump into the hedge. And Hermione, nose buried in a book at the tent entrance, to scowl over at them. Sorry, said Ron, wrenching Harry back out of the brambles. But the name's been jinxed, Harry. That's how they track people. Using his name breaks protective enchantments. It causes some kind of magical disturbance. It's how they found us in Tottenham Court Road. Because we used his name? Exactly. You've got to give them credit. It makes sense. It was only people who were serious about standing up to him, like Dumbledore, who ever dared use it. Now they've put a taboo on it. Anyone who says it is a trackable, quick and easy way to find Order members. They nearly got Kingsley. That is nuts, man.
That's wild. I didn't think that kind of thing would be possible.
Apparently. So, like, words that come out of people's mouths can be tabooed. Oh, okay.
If I was in the wizarding world, I would want to fact check Ron's information.
What, with Hoodle?
Yeah, with Hoodle or something else.
Using Hoodle. You're kidding. Yeah, a bunch of Death Eaters cornered him. Bill said, but he fought his way out. He's on the run now, just like us. Ron scratched his chin thoughtfully with the end of his wand. You don't reckon Kingsley could have sent that dough? His Patronus is a lynx. We saw it at the wedding, remember? Oh, yeah. They moved further along the hedge, away from the tent and Hermione. Harry, you don't reckon it could have been Dumbledore? Dumbledore what? Ron looked a little embarrassed, but said in a low voice, Dumbledore. You know, the dough. I mean, Ron was watching Harry out of the corners of his eyes. He had the real sword last, didn't he? Harry did not laugh at Ron because he understood too well the longing behind the question. The idea that Dumbledore had managed to come back to them, but that he was watching over them, would have been inexpressibly comforting. He shook his head. Dumbledore's dead, he said. I saw it happen. I saw the body. He's definitely gone. Anyway, his Patronus was a phoenix, not a doe. Oh, Patronuses can change, though, can't they? Said Ron. Tonks changed, didn't it? Yeah, but if Dumbledore was alive, why wouldn't he show himself? Why wouldn't he just hand us the sword? Well, search me, said Ron. Same reason he didn't give it to you while he was alive, Same reason he left you an old snitch and Hermione a book of kid stories. Which is what? Asked Harry, turning to look Ron full in the face, desperate for the answer. I don't know, said Ron. Sometimes I've thought, when I've been a bit hacked off, he was having a laugh, or he just wanted to make it more difficult. But I don't think so. Not anymore. He knew what he was doing when he gave me the Deluminator, didn't he? Well, Ron's ears turned bright red, and he became engrossed in a tuft of grass at his feet, which he prodded with his toe. He must have known I'd run out on you. No, Harry corrected him. He must have known you'd always want to come back. That's so lovely. That is...
That's nice, yeah.
Ah, what a great turnaround and way of looking at it. You know, rather than saying, no, don't take that shame on. Like, take on what he knew of you. He knew the quality. Even if you made a mistake, you'd turn around and come back with that. That's lovely. I love that.
That's nice. That's a good way to think about it, yeah.
Yeah. Ron looked grateful, but still awkward. Partly to change the subject, Harry said, speaking of Dumbledore, have you heard what Skeeter wrote about him? Ask Peeves. Best wizard search engine suggestion. Ask Peeves. Because there's Ask Jeeves. You know that one? Do you know that? Of
course, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good. Instead of search, the search button spells Kong. Oh, so good. Perfect response, Harry, says Lois. Yes, it is. It's definitely a perfect response. Ron and Harry's friendship is so lovely, says May. Yeah, that friendship. Ron's emotional range, formerly of a teaspoon, grew three sizes that day, says Janessa. Yes, indeed.
So what's that, half a tablespoon?
Do a tablespoon 3 times.
So
Yeah.
great.
Wait, hey,
3
that's
times a
that's that's
teaspoon
progress.
isn't very
Sorry, what?
good.
What'd you say?
3 times a teaspoon isn't very good.
Let's say 10 times. That's maybe like a cup? No, it's not even that. Ron looked grateful, but... Oh, wait, he changed the subject. Speaking of Dumbledore, have you heard what Skeeter wrote about him? Oh, yeah, said Ron at once. People are talking about it quite a lot. Of course, if things were different, it'd be huge news. Dumbledore being pals with Grindelwald, but now it's just something to laugh about for people who didn't like Dumbledore. And a bit of a slap in the face for everyone who thought he was such a good bloke. I don't know that it's such a big deal, though. He was really young when they... Our age, said Harry. Just as he had retorted to Hermione, and something in his face seemed to decide Ron against pursuing the subject. A large spider sat in the middle of a frosted web in the brambles. Harry took aim at it with the wand Ron had given him the previous night, which Hermione had since condescended to examine, and decided was made of blackthorn. Engorgio. The spider gave a little shiver, bouncing slightly in the web. Harry tried again. This time the spider grew slightly larger. Stop that, said Ron sharply. I'm sorry I said Dumbledore was young, okay? Harry had forgotten Ron's hatred of spiders. Oh, sorry, Reducio. The spider did not shrink. Harry looked down at the blackthorn wand. Every minor spell he had cast with it so far that day had seemed less powerful than those he had produced with his phoenix wand. The new one felt intrusively unfamiliar, like having someone else's hand sewn to the end of his arm.
Well, I'd be practicing with like 15 wands all the time, but just like get really good at all of them so that if one breaks, it's okay. I have like one.
That's really clever. Yeah. Yeah, totally. Being always prepared. What if your wand breaks? Well, then you'll be set up to work with a different one.
Yeah, and
Totally.
maybe it's kind of like certain types of magic are better with one kind of wand than the other, you know? Like maybe if I know I'm in a situation where like I need to have self-defense, well, I'm going to pick one kind of wand versus something else. But
Now, is that a thing? Do these wands have stronger attributes in certain areas? Do you know that?
I don't know about that. People are saying that like you would need to find 15 wands that like you because the wand chooses the wizard. But obviously not. Ron just grabbed some random wand from who knows where and brought it and gave it to Harry.
And now Harry can use
That
it.
wasn't a choice of the wand. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, okay, but maybe the wand chooses the wizard, right? And then you can probably cast really strong spells. Or it works really well, but you can still use somebody else's wand, and you can still cast strong spells, I guess, but maybe not as strong.
yeah, I guess so. Yeah, it seems like that's the case.
Yeah. All right. You just need to practice, said Hermione, who had approached them noiselessly from behind, and had stood watching anxiously as Harry tried to enlarge and reduce the spider. It's all a matter of confidence, Harry. He knew why she wanted it to be all right. He still felt guilty about breaking his wand. He bit back the retort that sprang to his lips, that she could take the blackthorn wand if she thought it made no difference, and he would have hers instead. Keen for them all to be friends again, however, he agreed. But when Ron gave Hermione a tentative smile, she stalked off and vanished behind her book once more. All three of them returned to the tent when darkness fell, and Harry took first watch. Sitting in the entrance, he tried to make the blackthorn wand levitate small stones at his feet, but his magic still seemed clumsier and less powerful than it had done before. Hermione was lying on her bunk reading, while Ron, after many nervous glances up at her, had taken a small wooden wireless out of like a wireless wand. I don't know. That's what I thought I read.
Already don't have wires.
Just imagine the first wands were all wired. You had to like wire them to your hand or your body. It was like, check it out. New ones came out. Oh, wireless wands, dude!
Whoa!
Whoa! Bluetooth. had taken a small wooden wireless out of his rucksack and started to try to tune it. "There's one program," he told Harry in a low voice, "that tells the news like it really is. All the others are on you-know-whose side and are following the ministry line. This one, you wait till you hear it. It's great. Only they can't do it every night. They have to keep changing locations in case they're raided, and you need a password to tune in. Trouble is, I missed the last one." He drummed lightly on the top of the radio with his wand, muttering random words under his breath. He threw Hermione many covert glances, plainly fearing an angry outburst, but for all the notice she took of him, he might not have been there. For 10 minutes or so, Ron tapped and muttered. Hermione turned the pages of her book, and Harry continued to practice with the blackthorn wand. Finally, Hermione climbed down from her bunk. Ron ceased his tapping at once. If it's annoying you, I'll stop," he told Hermione nervously. Hermione did not deign to respond, but approached Harry. "We need to talk," she said. He looked at the book still clutched in her hand. It was The Life and Lies of Albus Dumbledore. "What?" he said apprehensively. It flew through his mind that there was a chapter on him in there. He was not sure he felt up to hearing Rita's version of his relationship with Dumbledore. Hermione's answer, however, was completely unexpected. "I want to go and see Xenophilius Lovegood." He stared at her. "Sorry?" "Xenophilius Lovegood, Luna's father. I want to go and talk to him." Why?" She took a deep breath, as though bracing herself, and said, "It's that mark, the mark in the Beetle the Bard. Look at this." She thrust The Life and Lies of Albus Dumbledore under Harry's unwilling eyes, and he saw a photograph of the original letter that Dumbledore had written Grindelwald, with Dumbledore's familiar, thin, slanting writing. He hated seeing absolute proof that Dumbledore really had written those words, that they had not been Rita's invention. "The signature," said Hermione. "Look at the signature, Harry." He obeyed. For a moment he had no idea what she was talking about, but looking more closely with the aid of his lit wand, he saw that Dumbledore had replaced the A of Albus with a tiny version of the same triangular mark inscribed upon the tails of Beetle the Bard. What are you?" said Ron tentatively, but Hermione quelled him with a look and turned back to Harry. "It keeps cropping up, doesn't it?" she said. "I know Victor said it was Grindelwald's mark, but it was definitely on that old grave in Godric's Hollow, and the dates on the headstone were long before Grindelwald came along. And now this! Well, we can't ask Dumbledore or Grindelwald what it means. I don't even know whether Grindelwald's still alive, but we can ask Mr. Lovegood. He was wearing the symbol at the wedding. I'm sure this is important, Harry." Harry did not answer immediately. He looked into her intense, eager face, and then out into the surrounding darkness, thinking. After a long pause, he said, "Hermione, we don't need another Godric's Hollow. We talked ourselves into going there, but it keeps appearing, Harry. Dumbledore left me the tales of Beetle the Bard. How do you know we're not supposed to find out about the sign?" "Here we go again." Harry felt slightly exasperated. "We keep trying to convince ourselves Dumbledore left us secret signs and clues. The Deluminator turned out to be pretty useful," piped up Ron. "I think Hermione's right. I think we ought to go and see Lovegood." Harry threw him a dark look. He was quite sure that Ron's support of Hermione had little to do with a desire to know the meaning of a triangular rune. "It won't be like Godric's Hollow," Ron added. "Lovegood's on your side, Harry. The Quibbler's been there for you all along. It keeps telling everyone they've got to help you." "I'm sure this is important," said Hermione earnestly. "But you don't think, if it was, Dumbledore would have told me about it before he died? Maybe it's something you need to find out for yourself," said Hermione, with a faint air of clutching at straws. "Yeah," said Ron sycophantically. "That makes sense."
Oh, God.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, I love you, but sure, yeah, like, let's keep going.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No personal opinion on this. uh, no, it doesn't, snapped Hermione. But I still think we ought to talk to Mr. Lovegood. A symbol that links Dumbledore, Grindelwald, and Godric's Hollow. Harry, I'm sure we ought to know about this. I think we should vote on it, said Ron. Those in favour going to see Lovegood. His hand flew into the air before Hermione's. Her lips quivered suspiciously as she raised her own. Outvoted, Harry. Sorry, said Ron, clapping him on the back. Fine, said Harry, half amused, half irritated. Only, once we've seen Lovegood, let's try and look for some more Horcruxes, shall we? Where do the Lovegoods live, anyway? Do either of you know? Yeah, they're not far from my place, said Ron. I don't know exactly where, but Mum and Dad always point towards the hills whenever they mention them. This music's a bit too sad, so... Oh, I'm going to change it to the other stuff. Shouldn't be hard to find. When Hermione had returned to her bunk, Harry lowered his voice. You only agreed to try and get back in her good books. All's fair in love and war, said Ron brightly, and this is a bit of both. Cheer up. It's the Christmas holidays. Luna'll be home. They had an excellent view of the village of Ottery St. Catchpole from the breezy hillside to which they disapparated next morning. From their high vantage point, the village looked like a collection of toy houses in the great slanting shafts of sunlight stretching to earth in the breaks between clouds. They stood for a minute or two, looking towards the burrow, their hands shadowing their eyes, but all they could make out were the high hedges and trees of the orchard, which afforded the crooked little house protection from Muggle eyes. Ron's Bearcow's voice? The eyes have it unlock. I don't know what... Sorry. John Bearcow. I don't know what that is. Ron's being a massive simp. The Lovegoods live in the clouds, obviously. That would make so much sense if Luna came from a house that's drifting in the clouds.
Did it say that? Is that what they live?
No. It's just like the description is just like there's a lot of clouds and it's just very picturesque, right? So KJ just said it was made a joke.
Well, what do you think is going to go down there? What do you think you're going to find out?
Well, I think that maybe. Well, Xenophilius, he's still wearing the mark, right?
Yeah, he had it on his neck at the wedding, I think.
Yeah. But
I think that might have been the first time that Harry saw it. I can't remember that.
Yeah, it was. So, since Dumbledore... Oh, somebody's asking... Denise is asking, Mark, is this all new to you too, the books?
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, like, I watched the movies, and I know some of, like, the major things, but I don't know most of the information and, like, the details of anything really at this point. So
yeah,
I'm like, I have no idea what the heck Luna's dad has to do with any of it.
Yeah, I know. Because, well, if he's wearing the mark, that means he's still, I guess, on board with whatever the cause is nowadays. Because it started out with Dumbledore and Grindelwald. Obviously, right. Grindelwald they took it somewhere else that Dumbledore didn't like. They collided. And so now it's a thing that hasn't... I guess it's been around during these books, but it's only popped up in the 7th book. So, I don't know what the cause would be right now. It's hard to decipher what would happen when he's going to go meet with him. I guess it's going to be a big revelation, I guess.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Something like that.
I mean, if it's anything like the rest of this book, it probably is. Every time, like, we go to a place or meet somebody, there's a lot of information.
Yeah, yeah, big exposition dump coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. The House in the Clouds. It's where is it? It's weird being this near, but not going to visit," said Ron. "Well, it's not like you haven't just seen them. You were there for Christmas," said Hermione coldly. "I wasn't at the Burrow," said Ron with an incredulous laugh. Do you think I was going to go back there and tell them I'd walked out on you? Yeah, Fred and George would have been great about it. And Ginny, she'd have been really understanding. But where have you been then? Asked Hermione, surprised. Bill and Fleur's new place. Shell Cottage. Bill's always been decent to me. He wasn't impressed when he'd heard what I'd done, but he didn't go on about it. He knew I was really sorry. None of the rest of the family know I was there. Bill told Mum he and Fleur weren't going home for Christmas because they wanted to spend it alone. You know, first holiday after they're married. I don't think Fleur minded. You know how much she hates Celestina Warbeck. Who's that again? Celestina Warbeck?
No idea. I can't remember.
Yeah. John, we know it's even older from the graveyard. Right. Yeah. Okay. She's a singer. Okay. Oh, right. Yeah, the singer. That was playing. Ron turned his back on the
cauldron full of hot, strong love.
What?
Oh, a cauldron full of hot, strong love.
Right.
Final Freak says, "I believe you sang the song."
I did. Oh, yes. A cauldron full of hot, strong love. I forgot all about that. Ron turned his back on the burrow. Let's try up here, he said, leading the way over the top of the hill. They walked for a few hours, Harry, at Hermione's insistence, hidden beneath the invisibility cloak. The cluster of low hills appeared to be uninhabited, apart from one small cottage, which seemed deserted. Do you think it's theirs? They've gone away for Christmas, said Hermione, peering through the window at a neat little kitchen with geraniums on the windowsill. Ron snorted. Listen, I've got a feeling you'd be able to tell who lived here if you looked through the Lovegoods window. Let's try the next lot of hills. So they disapparated a few miles further north. Aha! Shouted Ron, as the wind whipped their hair and clothes. Ron was pointing upwards, towards the top of the hill on which they had appeared, where a most strange-looking house rose vertically against the sky. A great black cylinder with a ghostly moon hanging behind it in the afternoon sky. That's got to be Luna's house. Who else would live in a place like that? It looks like a giant rook. It's nothing like a bird, said Hermione, frowning at the tower. I was talking about a chess rook, said Ron. A castle to you. Ron's legs were the longest, and he reached the top of the hill first. Why not disapparate to the top? When Harry and Hermione caught up with him, panting and clutching stitches in their sides, they found him grinning broadly. It's theirs, said Ron. Look. 3 hand-painted signs had been tacked to a broken-down gate. The first read, The Quibbler, Editor X Lovegood. The second, Pick your own mistletoe. The third, Keep off the dirigible plums. The gate creaked. The dirigible?
Yeah, like not a hot air balloon. Not a hot air balloon, a blimp, like a blimp. A dirigible is more like a blimp.
So what's dirigible plums?
I don't know, maybe they float?
Don't step on the floating plums.
Oh yeah, why would they fall then? Maybe they look like dirigibles.
Yeah, maybe that's it. I don't think you can apparate on or in people's houses, right? Okay, the gate creaked as they opened it. The zigzagging path leading to the front door was overgrown with a variety of odd plants, including a bush covered in the orange, radish-like fruit Luna sometimes wore as earrings. Harry thought he recognized a snargaluff and gave the wizened stump a wide berth. Probably a reference to something in the first book or two when they were dealing with a lot of plants. If somebody can describe what a snargaluff is in the chat, that'd be helpful. And gave the wizened stump a wide berth. 2 aged crab apple trees, bent with the wind, stripped off leaves but still heavy with berry-sized red fruits and bushy crowns of white beaded mistletoe, stood sentinel on either side of the front door. A little owl with a slightly flattened, hawk-like head peered down at them from one of the branches. You'd better take off the invisibility cloak, Harry, said Harry. It's you Mr. Lovegood wants to help, not us. He did as she suggested, handing her the cloak to stow in the beaded bag. She then rapped 3 times on the thick black door, which was studded with iron nails and bore a knocker shaped like an eagle. Barely 10 seconds passed. Hey, Mark, it's 7 o'clock. I'm gonna go a bit long. I don't know if you have time, but yeah, if you want to stick around.
Yeah, I can go a little bit longer. Yeah.
Yeah, you let us know if you need to go at some point. I want to know what.
You're gonna give me all that kind of control. You're gonna let me just decide.
Power hungry. You're so power hungry, Mark.
I'm fine.
Okay, great. This Snargaluff is a plant that'll wrap itself around you when you try to take out its pods. The stump that looks completely normal except shoots vines at you when you are too close. Oh, okay. Mark having control is terrifying, says Lois.
No, it isn't.
Lois with the sass. All right. Barely 10 seconds passed. Then the door was flung open, and there stood Xenophilius Lovegood. Now I'm going to do his voice like Luna, but the dad of Luna. If there's any other adjectives to throw in there, just adjectives based in the books for his voice, please do throw it in there. I'm open to some corrections on that voice too. If I like the correction, that is. Let's not
forget, this is all entirely John.
Yeah.
You can say stuff, but if I don't like it...
Get out of here, kids! Yeah, get off my lawn! Yeah. His long, white, candy floss hair was dirty and unkempt. Xenophilius had been positively dapper at Bill and Fleur's wedding by comparison. Old. Irish voice like Luna. I think a male version of Luna would work well. Old. Everybody's... he's aged.
Not
eccentric.
super old.
Yeah,
he's old, but he's not super old.
Okay, so Luna's over here. So he's more of a guy up here. Maybe like this. Yeah. Oh, what? What is it? Who are you? What do you want? He cried in a high-pitched, querulous voice, looking first at Hermione, then at Ron, and finally at Harry, upon which his mouth upon which his mouth fell open in a perfect comical O. Hello, Mr. Lovegood, said Harry, holding out his hand. I'm Harry Potter. Xenophilius did not take Harry's hand, although the eye that was not pointing inwards at his nose slid straight to the scar on Harry's forehead. I like it, but maybe deeper. Okay, I'll try it a little bit deeper. Would it be okay if we came in? Asked Harry. There's something we'd like to ask you. I'm not sure that's advisable, whispered Xenophilius. He swallowed and cast a quick look around the garden. Rather a shock. Oh, my word. I'm afraid I don't really think I ought to. It won't take long, said Harry, slightly disappointed by this less than warm welcome. Oh, all right then. Come in. Quickly. Quickly! They were barely over the threshold when the Xenophilius slammed the door shut behind them. They were standing in the most peculiar kitchen Harry had ever seen. The room was perfectly circular, so that it felt like being inside a giant pepper pot. Everything was curved to fit the walls.
What?
Yeah, what is it inside a giant pepper?
Why is that the analogy?
Do you know what a pepper pot is? I don't.
No, is it something specific? Is it a pot that's just for peppers?
I don't know. Does that exist? Somebody's like,
all kinds of things.
you know, I don't like where peppers are in right now, so we need to make something new just for some peppers. But probably, that's probably what it is, yeah.
Like, hey, can I put some potatoes in the pepper pot, John?
How dare you know! That's only for the peppers! Pepper shaker.
Oh, okay.
A pepper grinder. Oh, okay, yeah, because it looks like a rook, right? Like a castle.
See, I went like capsicum. You know, I went like bell pepper.
Yeah, me too. No, I went to like red peppers. You know.
Oh yeah.
Like I went to those. Yeah. Pepper Pot is a character in Iron Man. Very good, John. It was shaped like her. You know what I want this house to look like? pepper pot from Iron Man. Just like that. It's a strange obsession. Okay, let's get back to it. Everything was curved to fit the walls, the stove, the sink, and the cupboards, and all of it had been painted with flowers, insects, and birds in bright primary colors. That's a nice hippie place, a place I'd probably like to be in. Harry thought he recognized Luna's style. The effect in such an enclosed space was slightly overwhelming. In the middle of the floor, a wrought iron spiral staircase led to the upper levels. There was a great deal of clattering and banging coming from overhead. Harry wondered what Luna could be doing. "You'd better come up. No, you'd better come up," said Xenophilius, still looking extremely uncomfortable, and he led the way. The room above seemed to be a combination of living room and workplace, and as such, was even more cluttered than the kitchen. Though much smaller and entirely round, the room somewhat resembled the room of requirement on the unforgivable occasion that it had transformed itself into a gigantic labyrinth comprised of centuries of hidden objects. There were piles upon piles of books and papers on every surface, delicately made models of creatures Harry did not recognize, all flapping wings or snapping jaws hung from the ceiling. Luna was not there. The thing that was making such a racket was a wooden object covered in magically turning cogs and wheels. It looked like the bizarre offspring of a workbench and a set of old shelves, but after a moment Harry deduced that it was an old-fashioned printing press, due to the fact that it was churning out quibblers. Excuse, Quibblers is the magazine, right? The
yeah, that's
newspaper.
what he writes. Yeah.
Ah, so that thing's like his printing machine, I guess.
Yeah.
That's cool. All right. Excuse me, said Xenophilius, and he strode over to the machine, seized a grubby tablecloth from beneath an immense number of books and papers, which all tumbled on to the floor, and threw it over the press, somewhat muffling the loud bangs and clatters. He then faced Harry. "Why have you come here?" Before Harry could speak, however, Hermione let out a small cry of shock. "Oh, Mr. Lovegood! What's that?" She was pointing at an enormous grey spiral horn, not unlike that of a unicorn, which had been mounted on the wall, protruding several feet into the room. "It is the horn of a crumple-horned snorkack," said Xenophilius. "No, it isn't," said Hermione. "Hermione," muttered Harry, embarrassed. "Now's not the moment." "But Harry, it's an irrumpent horn. It's a Class B tradable material, and just had a slight stutter there.
Just blow up.
Yeah. "And it's an extraordinarily dangerous thing to have in a house." How do you know it's an irrumpent horn?" asked Ron, edging away from the horn as fast as he could, given the extreme clutter of the room. There's a description in Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Mr. Lovegood, you need to get rid of it straight away. Don't you know it can explode at the slightest touch?" "The crumple-horned snorkack," said Xenophilius very clearly, a mulish look upon his face, "is a shy and highly magical creature, and its horn... Mr. Lovegood, I recognize the grooved markings around the base. There's an irrumpent horn. That's an irrumpent horn, and it's incredibly dangerous. I don't know where you got it." "I bought it," said Xenophilius dogmatically, "2 weeks ago from a delightful young wizard who knew of my interest in an exquisite snorkack. A Christmas surprise for my Luna. Now," he said, turning to Harry, "why exactly have you come here, Mr. Potter?" "We need some help," said Harry, before Hermione could start again. "Ah," said Xenophilius. "Help. He seemed simultaneously terrified and mesmerized. "Yes. The thing is, helping Harry Potter... rather dangerous." "Aren't you the one who keeps telling everyone it's their first duty to help Harry?" said Ron. "Is that in that magazine of yours?" Xenophilius glanced behind him at the concealed printing press, still banging and clattering beneath the tablecloth. Yes, I have expressed that view. However, that's for everyone else to do, not you personally, said Ron. Xenophilius did not answer. He kept swallowing, his eyes darting between the three of them. Harry had the impression that he was undergoing some painful internal struggle. Where's Luna? Asked Hermione. Let's see what she thinks. Xenophilius gulped. He seemed to be steeling himself. Finally, he said, in a shaky voice difficult to hear over the noise of the printing press, Luna's down at the stream, fishing for freshwater plimpies. She will like to see you. She will like to see you. I'll go and call her, and then... Oh, yes, very well. Oh, I shall try to help you. Oh. I think he's just always lost his thoughts. He's always just like, there's no one track. Yeah, oh no.
I'll do it.
Yeah. He disapparated down the spiral staircase, and they heard the front door open and close. They looked at each other. I think he's not going to help them. I think he's going to run off somewhere and do something else. I don't think he's going to help them.
I think that it's suspicious that he's leaving all of a sudden.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'll help you. And then...
But, you know, he might go get them.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, it's still possible. I don't have a very low opinion of this guy or anything, but...
Yeah, me either. Yeah, and also, like, I mean, out of all the activities Luna could be doing, he said one that sounds pretty close to probably what Luna would be doing.
Yeah, totally. May M says, Xenophilius, he definitely just has elevator music playing in his head constantly. It's so funny. Good one, May. Cowardly old wart, said Ron. Luna's got 10 times his guts. He's probably worried about what will happen to them if the Death Eater finds out I was here, said Harry. Well, I agree with Ron. Ooh, said Hermione. Awful old hypocrite, telling everyone else to help you and trying to worm out of it himself. And for heaven's sake, keep away from that horn. Harry crossed to the window on the far side of the room. He could see a stream, a thin, glittering ribbon lying far below them at the base of the hill. They were very high up. A bird fluttered past the window as he stared in the direction of the burrow, now invisible beyond another line of hills. Ginny was over there somewhere. They were closer to each other today than they had been since Bill and Fleur's wedding. But she could have no idea he was gazing towards her now, thinking of her. He supposed he ought to be glad of it. Anyone he came into contact with was in danger. Xenophilius' attitude proved that. He turned away from the window, and his gaze fell upon another peculiar object, standing upon the cluttered, curved sideboard. A stone bust of a beautiful but austere-looking witch, wearing a most bizarre-looking headdress. 2 objects that resembled golden ear trumpets curved out from the sides. A tiny pair of glittering blue wings was stuck to a leather strap that ran over the top of her head, while one of the orange radishes had been stuck to a second strap around her forehead. Look at this, said Harry. Fetching, said Ron. Surprised he didn't wear that to the wedding. They heard the front door close, and a moment later Xenophilius had climbed back up the spiral staircase into the room, his thin legs now encased in Wellington boots, bearing a tray of ill-assorted teacups and a steaming teapot. You have spotted my pet invention, he said, shoving the tray into Hermione's arms and joining Harry at the statue's side. Modelled, fittingly enough, upon the head of the beautiful Rowena Ravenclaw. Wit beyond measure is a man's greatest treasure. Ha, ha, ha. He indicated the objects like ear trumpets. These are the rack-spurt siphons to remove all sources of distraction from the thinker's immediate area. Oh, here, he pointed out the tiny wings. A billywig propeller to induce an
elevated frame of mind. Oh, finally, he pointed to the orange radish, the dirigible plum, so as to enhance the ability to accept the extraordinary.
Xenophilia strode back to the tea tray, which Hermione had managed to balance precariously on one of the cluttered side tables.
May I offer you all an infusion of Gurdy roots, said Xenophilius. We make it ourselves.
As he started to pour out the drink, which was as deeply purple as beetroot juice, he added,
Luna is down beyond Bottom Bridge. She is most excited that you are here. She ought not to be too long. She has caught nearly enough plimpies to make soup for all of us. Do sit down and help yourselves to sugar.
Now, he removed a tottering pile of papers from an armchair and sat down, his Wellingtoned legs crossed.
How may I help you, Mr. Potter?
Well, said Harry, glancing at Hermione, who nodded encouragingly. It's about that symbol you were wearing around your neck at Bill and Fleur's wedding, Mr. Lovegood. We wondered what it meant. Xenophilius raised his eyebrows.
Are you referring to the sign of the Deathly Hallows?
Dun dun dun. End of chapter. Title of book. Title of book. The Deathly Hallows.
Is that the end of the chapter?
That's the end of the chapter.
Oh, great. Yeah, cool. Good timing.
So I guess next time we'll find out what that is. What the Deathly Hallows is about. Oh, I have no idea. That's going to be a whole new dimension to something that's going to pop up.
Yeah, and I have no idea what it's going to bring or mean.
Yeah. I wonder if it's something that's been floating around throughout the books. Like, we're like, oh, and this, and then this. I'm hoping it does. I hope it's something like that just tracks the whole way through. That'll be cool. No, but a perfect cliffhanger. What do you think they are? The Deathly Hallows? What does Hallows mean again? Mark, do you remember?
They're saying
Hallows. Hallows, not Hollows. The Deathly Hallows. Like, hallowed, doesn't that mean holy? Hallowed be thy name? Or you know, hallow. Deathly Hallows. So something...
Revered, holy, sacred. Yeah.
Right. So it'll be something connected, obviously, to Grindelwald, and maybe this is something that Voldemort's trying to get to. This is like an extra source of power, the Deathly Hallows, like some kind of revered weapon in some form. I'm not entirely sure. Yeah. Okay. Well, Mark, it was a pleasure having you on. It's great connecting with you again. You know, it's always good. Yeah. It's always good.
Always a pleasure to come on.
Yeah. Dexter's here. Come here, buddy. No, he doesn't want to say goodbye, but...
let me see if I can grab a cat or two.
Yes, bring in a cat. So people are saying Hallow is a relic. I'm not going to read too far below just in case. I'll give Lois some time to correct some of the spoilers if some of them pop up. Thanks, guys, the readings and community here. Yes, thank you to everybody who is part of the community. It is quite lovely. It does give me a lot of joy to read to all of you. Yeah, Mark, for being live too. Thanks for the fun stream. Thank you, John. So good to have you back too, Mark. I don't know if you can hear that, but I'm sure he knows how valued he is. Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, I figured you probably could. My mic is on my headphones. I'm just grabbing a cat right now.
Oh, no worries, no worries. We can totally hear you. We can hear you. Yes. Oh, yeah. So Mark named his cat, one of his cats, Daddy. It's the funniest cat name I've ever heard. I think it might be my favorite cat name of all time. Daddy.
This is him. That's
oh, this is... Hey, Daddy. Oh, so cute. Oh, there he is. Oh, so cute. Is sleepy, huh?
Yeah, he's a sleepy cat.
Oh, so cute.
He's 5.
Happy to finally make my first live, says May. Well, welcome. We loved having you there. Mark, it's good to see you. I hope you have a great day until tomorrow. We'll do this again a number of times before the end of the book. I'd love to
Yeah,
love to
we'd
have you
love
on
to.
board
I would
for
love to.
because you were there since the beginning,
Yeah,
since the start. So we got to have you here at
yeah.
the end of it too.
It's wild to believe that it's going
It,
to be ending so soon.
I know. Oh, and
Yeah.
you know, here's let me throw it out to everybody and to you, Mark, too. Here's my kind of approximate plan of what I think of doing towards the end. So, the last reading, I'll announce what book I've chosen for the next round, but we won't jump right into the book. Well, after the last read, I'll announce that. Then I'm thinking of alternating between watching the movies, and then after we watch the first movie, then doing readings of some fan fiction in between every single movie. So what I and then at the end of all those movies, then we'll do a play reading of the Stolen Child. No, something the Cursed Child. No, what is it called? I can't remember the play, the Harry Potter play.
Cursed Child, I think.
The Cursed Child. So then at the very end, we'll do a play reading. I'll give some friends, some actor friends of mine, and you obviously can also be a character on there.
Cool! I would love to do that.
Yeah, to do a reading of that, and then we'll launch into whatever next book it is. People are saying that would be good. Would you like to read something that isn't fantasy, Danny? Yeah, if so, even like I would be interested in reading some sci-fi too. If people have sci-fi suggestions, go onto the Discord. The link is in the bio, and you can make a suggestion around anything sci-fi or any other genre. It doesn't have to be fantasy, by the way. But I'm only taking suggestions from the Discord. Bring on the fanfic. And also, please throw in suggestions of fanfic that I can read, because I don't know what research to do on that, to be honest. So if anybody has suggestions of fun and funny fanfic, please put it into the book suggestions. Lois volunteers to read stage directions. Absolutely, Lois. Absolutely. Live watch of the movies. Yes, we will do that too. Okay, I hope the movies will be live watch on YouTube. Does not John know? I'm going to try and make it happen live. I see if it's possible, but I'm still looking around for that. Does John know that the play is like 6 hours long? Yes, I do. There will be multiple readings of it. We will not do one 6-hour reading of that.
Oh God.
Yeah. All right, friends. Thanks so much for jumping on, Mark. We'll see you again soon on here. Thanks everybody listening. Bye bye. Much love.
Bye everybody.
Peace out.